things.
20 things or 20 or the spectrum. This is like a true bona fide narcissist. So everything else under that is just the spectrum and degree of it.
And I agree with Mara that too many people are now overusing the word just of like, oh, if somebody's conceited or full of themselves. So you have to be really careful because they're not on the spectrum. They're just full of themselves for a moment, or they're controlling.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're a narcissist. It's about when it all comes down to is like psychopaths tend to have what I would feel a narcissist is. They're psycho. They're
Actually, no. Actually, a narcissist is not considered a psychopath. They are considered.
They have no empathy.
But they're considered a sociopath. It's not psychopath. That's different. It's a sociopath.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine not having it? That's what those Hamas people are. I mean, they're evil. It's just, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I'm listening to the news every day, and I just feel so lucky to not be one of those people over there. My heart just breaks for all those people, and like I can't even compare my problems. They seem like nothing. I mean, God, why am I so lucky that I wasn't over there?
Exactly, and but you think, it's a mindset, and it's lack of empathy. How people can kill people, how people can kill children, but the thing is, we will never understand that because it is outside of our purview. We find it to be horrific, which it is, but yet, these people are either born that way or they're conditioned that way or brainwashed that way.
And they're cult-like. And I hate to say this, but I'll limit something with you ladies, is I was listening to a friend of mine complain before Thanksgiving because she had to change her hair appointment because she was afraid she was sick. She was afraid she had COVID. She didn't, but she had to cancel her hair appointment. So she was going to have grays for Thanksgiving. And exactly what Mara said, I had just seen horrific pictures of children. Yeah. And I didn't want to be a can I say bitch? Yeah. I didn't want to be a bitch and go, first world problems. Yes. And I didn't want to not empathize with her. It's like, honey, I hear her. She was going to go with grays, but I was like, do you think your nephews are really going to look at your scalp and notice the roots? She's like, but and I'm like, so go to a color bar. No, nobody can mix my colors like my thing. And I'm like, well, do it yourself. She's like, I can't do it myself. She was just all these first world problems. But then again, you don't want to downplay that because that's your life that day. But when you see the perspective.
Yeah, exactly, Ronnie. I don't think that, like, I've had that where I bring it up to my dad even, and I love him more than anything. And he complains about lack of money or whatever. And I say, well, think about what's going on in the news here. Like, think of those poor people in Gaza, and think of, Israel and how lucky we are that we live here and we are safe. And he's like, yeah. I mean, I know he is aware, but some people, I don't know how they can, like, during everything that's going on right now,
because just like an empath or someone who has emotion or sensitivity, that's on a spectrum too. Not everybody is a bleeding heart. Sheena, do you agree? I mean, I would love for you to chime in here.
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to disagree with Mara because she knows how much I love her. But I think there are maybe even more narcissists than we know.
Okay.
Because I think narcissists are very good at hiding that they're narcissists. Now, that doesn't mean everybody who wants to be an actor and has 500 profile pictures is a narcissist. Narcissists are different. They're eating you alive a little bit at a time. The difference to me in a psychopath and a sociopath is that a psychopath at least kills you quickly and has the decency to eat you. A sociopath just drags it out for 100 years and sucks your soul out a tiny bit at a time.
Right.
And I think that it's become an epidemic. And Gann and I talked about this on my show yesterday. Are there actually more of them, or is it just that we're identifying them more? And I think that the answer to that is yes and yes. I think we're definitely identifying them more. I think more of them are coming out from under the rock because the internet allows them to do so. There are safe places now and more ways using technology that you can hurt people quietly
Wow.
and not be as called out. Whereas I think there was a day where if you were like, let's say it was the Old West and we lived in a town of 30 people, and somebody discovered that you were slowly but surely torturing your wife, probably all the people in the town would come and quietly kill you in the night and bury you under a tree. And that would be the end of you. But now we have laws and we have ways to protect people who do this so they don't get hurt. I mean, how many times I know my clients, so much of my clientele are people who are in, trying to get divorced from narcissists, are in lawsuits with narcissists, trying to win custody battles. And oftentimes the narcissists win because they're so clever.
Well, what do you make of those people that are that at least let's hope they know what's going on in the world and they still can't check themselves? Like they're with their first world problems. I don't understand.
And that's not always a narcissist. Sometimes that's just a selfish person.
Correct.
And we shouldn't
so
live in the
many
muck
people-
either, like under rocks and think, oh, we have to be sad and depressed all the time watching the news. Of course not. We have to live and we have to live in joy and enjoy life. I get it. But there's a
very
nice
true.
balance.
But, like,
That's
when you compare your problems
Yeah.
to the horrors
Exactly.
on the news, like
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, like even with narcissists, and Sheena and I discussed it yesterday on her show. We were mentioning names. Going back to Hitler was a narcissist. Fidel Castro was a narcissist. Julius Caesar, the Pharaoh. I mean, they're all men. And I think now, personally, it's like no one ever thought of a woman as a narcissist. They thought, they would think, she's just selfish or she's just controlling. Okay, but women narcissists exist. Even on like stuff that I've looked at online, I would say most of the books I've read were by men. By
that's
men,
true.
not women. And of course there are women narcissists, but I think they get women, not that we are, but women get away with it. It's like a narcissist is like a male thing, but it's not. And
No.
it's our next door neighbor. It's our
Oh, you know why?
Why?
Because men always just blame it on either our period or our menopause, or it's just. I'm serious. They blame everything on that, not because she's a narcissist. But you're right. You never hear about women
Nobody
narcissists.
knew I was a narcissist because I had my period. That was somebody's book they'll write from prison.
right.
And another
I
way
got
to
away
spot
with
an
it 'cause I blame
I'm
my
not
period.
a narcissist. I'm just in menopause.
Exactly.
Right.
But speaking of
No,
that,
I'm just pissed.
There is a kind of narcissist that I've decided in all my time working in the support community, which is probably about 15 years now. I've decided that the malignant narcissists, yes, they're like when you see the great white shark in the ocean and you realize, uh-oh, I'm bleeding. But the worst, I think, lately, I find, are the fragile narcissists. Because they're just always swinging on their cross, right? Poor me, my life is so difficult. I've never gotten a break. And all the while, they're using that weakness to manipulate and suck the energy and the soul out of people by acting like the victim. Because I guess maybe it's a thing because I'm Irish, but if you're going to attack me, I'd rather you just come at me
Yeah.
than to kill me slowly by crying. Oh, I'm so sad and everything's so terrible. But
Well,
then they're being heinous to people.
Yeah.
I was-
Hold on, Cara. Hold on, Mara. Cara.
I was just going to
Sorry,
say
Cara.
before you were talking, Sheena, about that another way to spot a narcissist is that they lie. So what you're saying is a lie because they're pretending to be something
They
to
lie.
get something. It's manipulative. But liars, they're liars, terrible, awful, painful liars, and that's almost the worst of it because that twists you.
Like pathological sometimes. They can't even not lie.
Well, you know what? They change the perception of things. They have this
Yeah.
great way of looking at a situation and twisting it and making something beautiful terrible. And then they get in your head where they're now changing they're shifting. So that's why you have a question. That's why you start questioning yourself because you're feeling maybe this is not right, but you trust them because you care about them, love them, whatever it is. They would never harm you. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or they gaslight you, yeah.
That's gaslighting,
Depends
otherwise
who you
known
are.
as gaslighting.
But I often wonder, it's like, are they idiots when they're lying, or are they evil? And which is worse?
That's
you know?
exactly what I wanted to say, Ronnie, because
Evil.
I wanted to spring into evil.
Spring into evil.
Let's talk about evil.
Evil.
And Sheena, I really want to get your take on this too.
Sure.
I saw a post, I think it was today or maybe yesterday. How do you know that you're in the presence of an evil spirit? And they didn't say whether that was someone not in the room at all that was an evil spirit, or like a person that's encapsulating an evil spirit. So they were saying a couple things, and one of the things they said a lot that could be here or there, but one of the things was like flashes in front of your eyes, or if you hear whispers, or if you just feel sick. And I just want to know, lots of people have encountered an evil spirit, whether they're sleeping in the middle of the night and they feel something on, like, sitting on them or whatever. I just want to know if you guys have ever felt that, and what you have done when that happens.
Can I add something? And Sheena, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't. Okay, I have never seen a positive or a negative anything. The only thing I have ever, I guess, experienced that way is when Mom passed. When I went to my house, I smelled her essence, and that's the only thing that continues on occasion to to remind me Mom's around.
But that's different.
But no, hold on, wait. No, bottom line is, I think you need to be open to that exists, or you have to be an open channel, because I am not. I am a shutdown channel. I watch enough horror movies and shit that, I'm like, that's the movies, but it's real, and I'm like brave and watching it and laughing and jumping. But if that shit happened to me, I'd be shitting in my pants.
But Dan, haven't you gotten readings? You've gotten a reading or two.
Yeah.
So when you get a reading, do you resist it, or are you open to it?
I resist it. I'm open to it. When I have a reading,
open.
I don't disbelieve. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I disbelieve. I absolutely believe. I'm not a hypocrite. I have a show. I talk about spirituality. I'm not going to, go out there and go, fuck this. I actually believe, but you have to be open. Right. And if you have a good reading, or you have any affiliation with anyone in any capacity that, will open that. If they don't ask you, and at least the ones I do, they ask you or ask me permission,
right,
if it's okay. And if I say it's okay, then of course I'm open to it. You surrender, okay? But if I don't say it's okay, then they shouldn't be doing it, and I'm sure the reading will be really shitty, okay? So in my life, I'm walking around going, it's not okay, it's not okay.
Okay, I see what
I
you're
know.
saying.
I mean, my mom even would tell me that the reason why I have not had that encounter so far, knock on wood, of an evil spirit in the middle of the night, like that heavy, the thing that's the hag that's sitting on your chest.
I've never had that. I don't think anyone like.
It's because I have a lot of light. Like, my light is too bright, but I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe some people, maybe the spirits come in to those that are in a what's the word, in between.
Well, you know what, Mara? I'm glad you asked that question, because we have one person on this panel that actually knows what the answer is.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of spirits, negative and positive. I grew up as a kid in a very Amityville kind of house outside of Baltimore. I did have what we call spirit visitations at that time, where you feel like an invisible thing is pressing you down and you can't move.
Wow.
Yeah, missed
My
it.
mom had the same thing when we first moved there, but hers was kind of rapey, like if you've ever seen that movie,
like an
The
incubus.
Entity.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like incubus-y. Yeah, and it was something that plagued us the whole while that we were there.
Why didn't you move?
Yeah.
She liked it.
What?
Why didn't like if that happened to me, I'd be like, it's like that TV show on Sci-Fi, Surreal Estate, I'd be like calling the first realtor, going, "Get me the fuck out of here."
But Sheena, what's the difference between that and the paralysis dream? You know how they
Well,
explain away?
Hold your thought. Let Sheena finish, because she's still trying to answer Mara's.
All right, we didn't move because, one, it's hard to get out of the house and two, my dad didn't want to move. And
Okay.
we actually moved because he got transferred. So sometimes in a situation like that, like with narcissists, so an evil spirit and a person with darkness functions very much the same way. So you know how a narcissist can be horrible to you and nice to somebody else? That house favored him, like he was in the eye of the hurricane, and beat my mom and me and the dogs up. So he was completely in denial about any of the existence of it, because it
he
was
didn't
being
want it.
so good to him.
Oh,
So he thought we were crazy. But then, quick story, years later, I had produced a paranormal documentary and I brought it to my parents to watch it at Christmas. And my father was an engineer and an atheist and, really liked robots and not people. When he saw machines capturing spirit activity, tape recorders, cameras, suddenly he confessed that in that house, every night at 3:00 in the morning, a Franciscan monk had come and sat on the end of the bed and looked at him and then walked through the wall. It was just that in his mind, there
Blimey.
was no paranormal, so it just didn't exist. So he blocked that out until he was in his 80s.
Wow.
Darkness is darkness. Whether it is in a living person or it's in a spirit, it acts almost exactly the same. And the best way to not get attacked, if you're in a situation like that, and it's twofold, Mara, because sometimes it's in a location and it stays in the house. Sometimes it's attached to a person
yeah.
and it follows with that person.
Mhm.
It's about protecting yourself. And one of the best ways to protect yourself is to do a white light protection prayer where you ask the white light to protect you every night. But yeah, some people believe it's the hag. There's also the lore of Hat Man. Are you all familiar with Hat Man?
Mm-mm. No.
It's like a dark figure in a suit and a hat and a trench coat that lurks in the corner of the room at night.
Oh.
Da 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 da. Hat
If you
Man.
watch a movie about sleep paralysis, they'll talk about Hat Man.
Yeah.
And I found
Ooh.
out right before my mom died that she had one that had followed her whole life. She didn't know what it was. She was a guest on my radio show one day and she started telling the story about the weirdest thing kept happening to me as a kid. And she had no idea what Hat Man was. So you find oftentimes
Ooh.
with Hat Man that, and sometimes Hat Man can do the pressing you down sleep paralysis too. That my belief is that Hat Man is particularly interested in people that have gifts, spiritual gifts, that don't know they have gifts.
Oh.
So they
so
come
he's
and they
not so
stare at
evil?
what?
Is Hatman evil?
Not evil per se, but certainly not what we would consider warm and empathic. I mean, I believe
What
Hat
does he
Man is
want?
an interdimensional species. I think they want to know why some people have psychic abilities.
Mm.
I think they're fascinated with kids that are gifted.
Have you guys
As my
ever
mother
met?
says.
Have you ever met somebody? I remember this person on the train in San Francisco, and I just got chills. I had to get up and leave. Like I
yeah.
couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just got chills.
You know, I used to love to go to I don't know if it's still there, the Psychic Eye. It was a bookstore.
Mm.
Sure.
In
And there was
Hollywood?
one in Burbank and one in the Valley. And they had this one section of like, the dark arts, okay?
Yeah.
And
They still do.
okay. So I remember, walking in there, and I would always go like to the crystal area and the books and the how do you read, tarot cards and candle magic and the ruins. That was like my section. But I used to go through that area because it was a curiosity, and I will tell you seriously that when I crossed that threshold to that and the people that were there, I got this really sort of butterfly nauseated feeling in
Sure.
that area that was very uncomfortable, that I never was able to truly stay there for a long time because it just physically affected me.
Yeah.
Isn't
the
that
darkness.
bizarre? It shouldn't
Yeah.
be bizarre because everything exists that we can't see. But just because we can't see and there's no hard evidence, but yet we still feel things.
But you know what? It happens with people too. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's people. You can be in a room full of people and there's like one person and they don't even have to say one freaking word. Okay, they could have they could have a big smile on their face, have everybody laughing, the life of the party, or they could be the quiet, subdued one with sort of an uncomfortability to them. And it's like and it's not like I don't know them, but those types of people, I just stay away from. If I get that feeling, I'm like out of there. If I have to talk to them, I'll talk to them, but then I'm out of there. I don't know, no exchanging phone numbers, emails, none of that shit.
Kids are really good at picking up on those vibes.
So are animals.
Yeah, dogs. And we grow up and just forget about that.
Dogs, yes. Animals pick up. That's true.
Well, I think our biggest problem as humans in general, I think as we're going through life,
That's the end of that sentence. The problem is just humans in general.
General, right.
That's our show.
That's our show. Hashtag. But the thing is, at what point, when do we all, and I think it's happened to all of us here. I think it's a generalized statement, but I think it's valid. When do we stop listening to our inner voice? That little voice that says, no, that little voice, don't go there. Danger, crazy bitch. That guy's an asshole. Because as children, like we sort of operate that way with our gut instinct. And then like at what age and what happens that we start to doubt it?
Teenagers.
I think it's hardest if you get that voice when everything seems great on the surface.
But we don't listen to it.
Well, I listen to mine, but I think it's difficult to listen when you don't have a reason that you can pinpoint, and everything seems like you just meet some guy and
you're your own narcissist, self-doubting, you're gaslighting yourself.
Well, I think I just forgot I had it, honestly. And you have to practice. It's a work in progress. All of that intuition is a work in progress. I feel. I have that feeling sometimes, often with there's somebody in my life. I just get that feeling with that person. I've many times thought it was me. I'm being mean. But
that's what I'm saying, Cara. At what point do we doubt that?
And often we don't doubt it. We just accept it. I'm sorry. When I was married the first time, the second that church door was open for me to go down the aisle with my dad, I felt this cold rush. And the first thing that entered my mind was, I'm making a mistake.
And what happened?
Ooh.
And I walked down that aisle, and I married him, and 12 years later, we got a divorce. But I heard it, I felt it, I knew it, but I wanted it to work. I can change him. I can change him. No, I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. It's if you want something that is differing from the inner voice inside of you, and you just don't want to look at that. You don't want to give it any credence or whatever.
Right, and that's why we stay in certain things because we justify the excuses.
Yeah. Because it's codependent.
Yep,
As a codependent, you don't ever put yourself first.
Exactly.
So you're not listening to yourself ever. You're always putting yourself last. You're just ignoring. You're abandoning yourself for somebody else.
Correct. Agreed.
Ronnie, were those 12 years, any of them good?
Okay, we loved each other even to the day we got divorced. So love wasn't the thing. We were just incompatible, and he was very controlling. I mistook.
But Ronnie, no, I gotta stop. Mm-hmm. You call it love. If someone's controlling, that's not love. It's your fantasy of what you wanted, of what you thought love was.
I didn't want ill will on him. He didn't want ill will on me.
No, but it's not.
And we loved each other, but we were incompatible.
I disagree with you. I think we can only have felt, but it wasn't necessarily genuine. I mean, I
loved him. I still love him. He still loves me.
How about you care about him, but you don't love him? Love to me, and then Sheena, you can. I really always like to test with Sheena. I always like to do the test with Sheena, and I'm always fine when Sheena disagrees with me because I want to be corrected and I want to learn another perception. But to me, for me, love is complete trust.
With you, it's a verb. Yes, I understand.
No, it's not only that. It's how it's compromise. It's meeting of a mind. It's someone allowing you to be you and they don't ask you to change. It's that complete unconditional of I accept you as you are. That is true love for me. When someone starts to be controlling or start to change or doesn't like this or starts to blame you for that, that is not love. So that is what battered wives deal with.
Yeah.
I love my husband, but he beats me, but he had a bad day.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
You know, a narcissist that, you know, makes you feel that you're wrong and you're walking on eggshells. And yet the victim, or what do they call the narcissist? It's not the victim. What do they call the
A meal?
yeah, right? The narcissist victim person, the one that's being victimized. You know, but I
The
love
perpetrator and the
yeah,
victim.
but I love him. He
Okay,
loves me.
Well, I wasn't a victim, but I will say, all right, just to go with you, we were very attracted to each other.
was it a physically? That's not
One,
love.
but here's the thing. I mistook his intensity and his drama for passion. I did, and that was on me. I love that intensity, but I mistook it. It was drama.
Right, because it's your need was you needed that.
Yes.
That was a need and a want, but it wasn't reality.
Right,
So you
exactly.
can't say you love somebody because it was
Okay,
based on an
I cared
illusion.
about him. It was a total illusion. I cared about him, his well-being. He cared about me, but we were married 11 years too long. But at the end, when we accepted each other, we were just roommates for the last year, Mara. We were just roommates and we got along great because we didn't want anything from each other anymore.
Absolutely. And once you,
Yeah.
like, once you're in a relationship, whether it's marriage or a committed relationship, you know, I am friends with all my exes. Some of the relations were very, rocky, but it wasn't. And for me, it was when we broke up, it was freeing for me.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Because I could be myself.
Yeah.
And that need, that want, that thing that I was attaching to, which was fantasy, it's like I broke up with somebody and we used to argue all the time. And I remember when she moved out, and the first time she called me and she went on a tangent. We have anger. We fight. You still have that pattern. We were arguing. And I just realized I don't have to listen to this anymore. I don't. And I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to apologize when I'm not wrong. And I hung up. I don't need to take this anymore. Click. The feeling of freedom and empowerment. I love that. I care about that person. Excuse me. I will do anything for that person.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, and like I said, our last year when we finally gave up and gave in and admitted it, we were the best of friends for a whole year until I'm like, okay, we need to file now. But you're right. It was freeing. It's like that was a fantasy. It was a
so
fantasy.
many people fall into relationships out of need.
Yeah, I was
Need,
needy.
Or it's that
dependency,
whole
want,
physical chemistry.
fantasy, sexual chemistry, infatuation, sometimes financially and monetarily.
That must be horrible.
We go people, and I'm not saying I know people like this. I read too, but everybody goes into a relationship. It's very rare. It is very rare that some people have just a really pure relationship.
I do with my second marriage.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
And we were friends for at least 2 years before we ever hooked up.
And that's because you recognized the markers. You worked on yourself, okay? Not to go down that path again. And you weren't, I'm going to say desperate, but I didn't mean desperate.
No, I was in despair with my first marriage.
You weren't desperate. You were like, I've been through this. I need to heal. And then, boom, you actually found someone. And you took 2 years to really suss them out in
And
a
we were
way.
just friends.
But
Yeah.
in a way, you probably were attracted to each other, but you didn't rush it. I'm telling you, because you were sussing it out, because you got sucked into something before.
Yeah.
And now, you did that 2-year trial away, and you're happily married, and that's wonderful. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, Okay, Sheena, your turn.
Okay, so
I know she's got a lot to say. I could see her face.
You guys are
Go,
in my
go. Come
wheelhouse.
on.
I think that when you're dealing with somebody who is narcissistic or on the narcissist spectrum, oftentimes what we think is love is actually addiction. They have a way to make us addicted to them. Codependent people, empathic people naturally can lean towards being addictive people anyhow. And then you have a person who's like Do you know what I mean? Like the heroin doesn't call you back and say, I've changed. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
a substance you're addicted to is just a thing and you just have to get away from it. But a person is like your crack, but it's actually convincing you to come back all the time.
Mm.
And so I think sometimes when we leave a narcissistic relationship, we look back over it and there's a part of us that thinks, wow, how did I do that for so long? Why? Because it doesn't even seem real now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have any urge to go back with anybody that I ever dated. But the narcissist, it's interesting because when I see a photo or I hear a reference, it's almost hard for me to believe I was ever there.
Yep.
It doesn't seem real. It seems like there's nothing. Like I'm very good friends with my ex-boyfriend. I have one ex that I'm good friends with, and he and I were together 10 years, and we sort of grew into brother and sister. And I spent 25 to 35 with him, so we were kind of babies together. And we're fantastic friends. We weren't really a good couple because we just are different. But he's always been a good friend to me and always been kind. And when I look back, or I'm with people that, like, I went to a CD release party with him a couple weeks ago with friends of ours that we used to couple date with all the time. And I remember what it was like to be with him. Like, I don't want to be now, but I remember those times. When I see the narcissist, it's almost like the whole thing is like an out of focus picture. Like, it doesn't make any sense that it ever happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it's like addiction, right? When you get sober, you're like, wow, what was I thinking doing that drug? And it's, I just quit sugar 3 months ago. And I'm like, what was I doing eating copious amounts of sugar all the time? It was making me feel terrible.
Yeah.
So I think we think it's love, and we want to think it's love as empathic people. But that usually when a narcissist is involved, it's not, because a narcissist is not real. And you can't be in love with somebody that's not there.
And they don't, exactly. They don't know
Absolutely.
who they are.
They're not real. There's nothing inside of there. They're like a chocolate Easter bunny that's hollow.
But they do know how to play the
Right.
game. They know how to play, they do know how to play the game to give emotion and but it's fake.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're mimicking and they're not. I don't know.
Well, they can't feel.
Like a robot.
I mean, the reality is they can't feel. So
Right.
if you can't feel, then yeah, you're right, Mara. They're mimicking.
Is it spiders that they shoot a poison out that dissolves their victims so they can eat them? That's a spider, right? Narcissists do the same thing, but they do it emotionally. They break you down and break you down and break you down until you're almost in liquid form, and then they can eat you.
And then
they
discard
do.
you.
They
And then discard
literally
you.
Siphon your energy out and take it for themselves. It's a kind of feeding. It's a vampirism.
Yep.
And they do it for all different reasons, but mostly they do it because they do not generate the proper amount of light within them. So they need to find their light source from outside of them.
But
and
then
they're
why do they
always
need to
hungry.
destroy it?
What?
Because they want to get, because they don't care, for the same reason that, the fable about the scorpion and the frog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a scorpion and a frog, and there's a river. And the scorpion says to the frog, let me hop on your back and take me across the river. And the frog says, no, I'm not going to do that because you're going to sting me and I'm going to die. And the scorpion said, no, because if I sting you, I'll drown and we'll both die. So of course I won't do that. So they start to cross the river. The scorpion hops on the frog's back, and halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog. And as they're sinking, the frog says, what are you doing? We're both going to die. And the scorpion says, I don't know. It's in my nature. So they will do things that hurt them just because.
Definitely
they have to
self-sabotage.
feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll
Mhm.
self-sabotage to continue to feed.
Because they
And
are
their lives
broken.
aren't nothing.
At the very core, they're broken people.
Yeah.
They're hollow. There's nothing in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Like I
They
heard
are
it
a hollow
once described
person.
as like you see this beautiful car on the side of the road, and you just want to take it out for a test drive, and it's so good looking and so slick and so beautiful, but there's nothing in there. There's no engine, so
Right.
it won't go anywhere.
Right. Exactly. Right.
It's no use. There's no
It's a-
engine in it.
Yeah. So it has to take your engine to fuel it. because it can't move on its own. And that is, and empaths create so much light, and we're so used to making light not just for us but for others, that we're sort of like, if you had a cheeseburger that no matter how much you ate it, it just kept coming back. That's what an empath is like. So it's an endless source for them to feed off of. And because our spiritual immune systems and our emotional immune systems and our physiological immune systems are all tied together, you find that the more you're being energetically siphoned, the more you start having problems like depression and anxiety. And the last holdout is usually your body. But there are
Very
people
true.
who have literally been killed by narcissistic partners because they get drained to the point where their organs just give up and they die. Their chi literally is gone and they perish.
Yeah, the hardest thing is for someone who is not able to, who isn't a narcissist, wants to believe the best in that person because they're trying so hard to relate. And usually when you're relating to someone, it's like you're thinking of yourself. Would never do that. And it's so hard because it's so foreign to someone who's not a narcissist. That when to finally wake up, like, and finally see that it's not personal. It's just that person is that way. They're like defected. It's so
and you know what?
hard to admit it.
There also is nothing like seeing a narcissist unravel. When you finally either no contact or you walk away or you push back, there is absolutely nothing more. I mean, you know, grab some popcorn. I mean, don't be the one that that made them unravel. But there's nothing so more fascinating than see a narcissist unraveling and grappling at straws to try and justify what they said and what they did. It's like their mask falls off and they are discovered. And if you do that to a narcissist, you become, the enemy. The enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, the fighting them doesn't really get you anywhere.
No,
And that
it's
happens,
not
that
exciting.
even a negative spirit, if you have a negative spirit in your house and you're always like, fuck you at them, they're just going to do more because it's attention. What they feed on is attention and energy. So if you want to control them and get them out of your life, cut them off.
Yes.
Nothing.
100%.
And now that doesn't mean ignore them, or
Right.
because I know a lot of people differ with me in this in the community. That doesn't mean block and ignore and change your number, because then they'll try that much harder to find you.
Correct.
Because it becomes a challenge.
Correct. They're going to
The
find
idea
where
is-
they can break you.
Exactly. So the idea is like gray rocking. You have to be like, oh yeah, I'm great. How are you? Oh, it's nice to see you too. And then get the hell out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if
Give
they
them
think you
nothing.
don't like them, they will chase you to the ends of the earth.
Well, they will
So
make your
never
life,
let them
they will
know.
go out of their way to make your life miserable and utilize anything around you that they can control to join them. That's why they have flying monkeys.
Exactly. Yes.
Flying monkeys are the friends around them that they've
Right.
convinced.
Correct.
They do have flying
Right.
monkeys. Yes, they do. Yeah. Well, they have minion, right? Because they don't know
Right.
how to have actual friends. I mean, you show me a narcissist, I will show you someone who has not a single actual friend. They just have people that put up with their crap.
Yeah.
You know what my
because
my mother used to say, usually it's like people with a lot of friends get a bad rap that they're superficial. You know what I mean? But my mother, she used to say, be careful of the people who don't have a lot of friends.
Yes. Yes.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and their experience would be, well, I'm sort of antisocial and I'm shy.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
because when you have a lot of friends, usually on the average, is you're comfortable with people, you love people, you like hanging out with people, and they're drawn to you.
Yep.
Yeah. You're
And
a
that's
friend
another
to
thing that
them.
narcissists hate, when you're the one in the room that shines.
Oh yeah. They
Oh. Yeah.
So here's
That's
a
why
want to
question.
cut you down right away and let you,
Yeah, and then their flying monkeys join in, and then that's where you have to build and work on yourself, and your own self-esteem. So it does, because you're getting all of this, and it starts to make you doubt yourself. Like, well, people are saying, is it true? And that's and that's why you have to start really, and I need to, I will tell you, and I am going to therapy right now because of, the situation of the codependency, and the, somewhere I've got some low self-esteem. I know most people don't know it, but it's it's people who know me really well and put me in a certain environment like this, and narcissists love to tell people stories about what you are, but you're not. You're not that person.
So have you ever seen a narcissist have a true friend who's also a narcissist? Is that possible?
Oh, absolutely. They love other narcissists because it's like,
Are they
right,
buddies or are they friends?
No,
No, they worship other narcissists in the same way that Narcissus looked in the water, right, and fell in love with his reflection. When there's a really evil, malignant narcissist around, they're fascinated by that because
Okay.
they see themselves in that.
correct. It's
And if
mirror.
they
It's a mirror. It's like when we are. It's like we are friends. So we are friends. There's a piece of us in you that we see in each other, and it's that mirror. Mirror. That was very New York. Mirror.
Yeah.
But a narcissist does the same. And just like
Yes.
we look to our friends and see the positive qualities, and it makes us reflect in ourselves to maybe, rise to the occasion and work on ourselves to maybe acquire those positive qualities. They're looking at their evil twin in the mirror going, wow, what are they doing that they're getting that and I'm not?
Then how come so many of them are in such denial, and like when they talk about someone in their eyes that they feel is a narcissist, they might as well be describing themselves, but they don't put it two and two together. They don't understand that. Like, what is that about?
There's a psychological term that I can't remember anymore. It's just it's menopause right now, where it's like you disassociate. It's like a disassociation.
Right.
With who you are. Like how could people be so completely clueless, and they're describing, I'm not,
But see, Mara, you're talking about, you're not a narcissist. You have empathy. You are emotional. There is nothing. It's like, they lie. They cry, they lie, you don't love me, blah, blah, all this bullshit, wah, wah, wah. But they don't.
You did this to me. I was so happy.
It's all your fault,
You made me like this.
It's your fault. It's you. But you remember, they're talking, they don't have that depth, because you have to understand, it's really hard to understand that there could be someone who is, people who are out there, that everything that's loving and light and positive, they're the opposite. And our brains can't comprehend that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we give them so many fucking chances.
Yes.
Give them another chance.
Yes, that's what
another
I wanted to
chance.
believe about this one person that comes to mind. Like,
Yes.
I would not expect
Only one?
one in
I have
general.
about 100
I
in
wanted to
mind.
believe that this person deep down was just covering and really did have that sensitivity and really just,
And the more you talk to
trying
them,
act.
and the more you talk to them, the more you rationalize with them, the more you try to fix them. So maybe you're the one that could break them open so they
Yes,
could
it was
see
ego.
their
It
light.
was ego.
And never gonna happen.
Yeah, and once you
If you've had
finally
3
realize it-
conversations with the person talking about the same shit and they don't get it, stop.
Well, I mean, it's really disappointing when you realize.
Well, it's
oh,
more than disappointing. They ruin people's lives.
Yeah, and you realize it. I was so let down when I finally saw. Oh my God, this person.
It's not going to change.
They're not what I thought they were. They're not capable of feeling empathy for someone. They're literally a narcissist. That was just so disappointing.
They have as much, first of all, they're immature too, but they have as much warmth and love as this wall behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they say. Talking to a narcissist and trying to get your point across is like talking to a wall.
Correct.
I actually think that wall is much warmer. It's a much warmer wall.
Oh, it's
I mean,
so
pretty much.
much-
Hey, Mara, let's face. You talk about fake people. They're fake. I mean, they're an illusion. They make you believe what they want you to believe. They will tell you what you want to hear. They'll suck you in, and once they got you in their web, and you are so fucked up in the head and the heart, you don't know whether you're coming or going. They come in for the kill. Bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean,
my friend uses the expression phony, and I love that.
Phony.
Oh, you know what? She's a phony. And I think it's so funny, and it's so true, right? Everything about them is just not real. They're just and they'll tell you like, "Oh, I'm an empath and I'm the most real person you'll ever meet. I hate lying. I tell it like it is."
And they're not
the
blunt. And they're not blunt. They're always very shy and demure,
until they're making you cry.
and
Then they're
that's
blunt.
once they get you. You know what I mean? But it's leading up to. They are very mutable. If they're talking to Cara, they'll mirror Cara to get her in. If they'll change, and if they want Ronnie or they want me, and once they have their mark, and my favorite is, they go, I know you. They know, and they do know you. And the reason why they know you so well, probably better than yourself, because you're a case study, that they rule your happiness, your sadness. They rule you. They get in your head. It's like the puppet and the puppet master.
Yeah, and if you've lived with this for so long, your self-esteem just falls to pieces.
Look, I'm going to be 60. I'll say it. I'm going to be 60 in a couple weeks, in 26 days exactly. Look, I have, and I'm not being boastful, I have a lot of education and a lot of degrees. Okay? I'm very intellectual and very smart. And yet you would think that over the X amount of years that I've been alive, I would be able to recognize it and run.
Well, you didn't learn it at school, baby.
Nope.
We should be taught this at school, by the way.
Instead, I mean, the reality is, and I think I'm a good bullshit detector. I can figure it out. And you know what? They are so cunning. And they just are so, actually, they're fucking smart. I mean, look, we're going to basic a lot of line. They're really goddamn smart.
Well, they're
Or
they're
you're just
not
vulnerable at the
smart,
time.
Like intelligent.
No.
That's what my mom used to call coyote smart.
Yeah.
Correct.
They know how to survive.
Yes.
A coyote will find ways to separate you from your pack so they can eat you.
Yep.
Because they know if you're standing there with 27 other dogs, they can't eat you. So they'll trick you and
interesting.
get you off by yourself by pretending they're
Yeah.
going to share something with you or give you something. They have an innate ability to survive. I mean, they survive on movie lots. Coyotes survive in the middle of urban areas.
Yep.
Narcissists are like that, and they're so charming. Because if they weren't charming, nobody was buying what they were selling, they wouldn't get anywhere.
They're snake oil
So
salesmen.
They're
and
very charming.
And the other thing is, they just don't meet you. They court you. They court
course.
you.
Yes.
You're a case study for them. They slowly start to push to see, because they want to make sure that you will at some point surrender. So, you don't meet a narcissist and get into a relationship and it's like that. Oh, no. It's a whole process. It's the love bombing. It's a case study. It really is. They sit there and they find their mark. It's just like when you're a criminal, You look at a party and you find the mark. Who's got the biggest diamond or whatever. And that's what they do. And they see who gravitates to who. I will guarantee you that the narcissists that you've been with have known you for a long time. Maybe they didn't approach you, but they'll keep an eye on you. Once, it's like a stalker, kind of. Once they find what they want, they will test you. And if you pass their sick, fucked up test, you're a goner. I mean,
Yeah, but
not
I
forever. You know, there are a lot of people that do break out of that.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, it is possible to go no contact with the narcissist and be rid of them forever.
It's work though, because they'll keep coming
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
They'll keep
especially if
coming
they've
back.
if they're dead.
That's what you're doing.
I do have a
always.
dead husband. He was.
But
very-
yeah, they do
very
keep
damaged.
coming around.
He's
You know,
dead.
Okay,
and then
I'm
the worst
laughing.
part is because you're in this fucking relationship and you think it's love and that they care, right?
It's a supply
Yeah.
for them.
Hold on until they find
Sorry.
somebody new.
Mm.
And then you are nothing to them. They discard you and you are replaced.
Cruelly. As
Cruelly.
cruelly. as they can.
And then you
Sometimes
sit
you
there like the fucking carpet was pulled out from under you because the greatest love of your fucking life dumped you, but it's the greatest gift they could give you.
And they feast like a banquet. And that
And it's not
discard.
just love relationships. It's
No.
in friendships and in
No, it's-
business.
in business,
Yeah.
you know, I always said,
Yeah.
you know, people, a relationship, you know, a relationship is not only like partners, marriages, it's business, it's anybody that you have a connection with, and it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be. There are people that are friends with narcissists. There are people that work for a narcissistic boss. And yes, there are people that are dating. You know, it's a relationship is a relationship. The tenets of a relationship, you know, if you look at what a relationship is, the way they describe it is very neutral. It's interpersonal connection. And it should come from the heart soul level. My opinion only.
No, it's true.
But
I mean, you
that-
have the
but
heart and
that
soul at work.
requires, Gayanne, that's assuming the person that you're talking about has a heart and a soul, which is asking a lot from a narcissist.
Mm-hmm. Is it their brain? Is it their soul? Which one is it?
I think it's a soul disease. I think it's an illness of the soul.
And sometimes you just have to deal because looking back in retrospect, I notice who have been narcissists in the company, at work, you know, in my 20s, 30s, 40s, like, whoa, now I see it. But you have to work with them.
Yeah.
But you have to hold your own boundaries. You don't put boundaries to them. You hold your own boundaries.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At work, you know, it's at work, depending on what the power balance is. If your boss is, and you know, you can't. If it's someone on your
Or
level,
other colleagues.
a colleague, you got to. But you know, it's much more difficult at work because you know you want to keep your job. You know, but
Yeah.
you know, but there is a distance. You can like you're at work and then you go home. You don't have to associate with any of these people till tomorrow morning. You know, that's easy. Come go. But when you're in a marriage or a friendship and your lives intertwined and you're intermeshed, that's a problem.
But that's just it. At work, especially with women, they want to narcissists want to undermine you at work. They want to undermine you. They want to trip you up. So you have to be really careful. You know, and now I see it because I'm wiser, life experience. But a lot of women were not standing up for themselves. Not just, and you're right, there are women who are not your friends, which I can't understand, but now I see it. They're not
No.
your friends. They're
No.
not. They're going to
Women
stab
are
you in the back.
Terrible to each other. And that's a whole other thing. I mean, sometimes that's a narcissism thing, Ronnie, but I think mostly that's being part of a marginalized community since the beginning of time. Instead of being good to each other, we're shoving each other under the bus, trying to get what we think are the few little tidbits there are for us.
Yep.
Yep.
And hopefully, as there becomes more equality in the world, generation after generation, women will evolve out of that. But right now, it's terrible. I mean, the worst. I know this is not everybody's experience, but the worst things that have ever happened to me in my life have happened at the hands of women.
Oh.
And
Me too.
I had a great relationship with my mom, and I didn't have a relationship with my dad, and not a good relationship with my dad. So you would think I would be more female centric, but I got to tell you, women are terrible to each other. And all of my tribe, I like to call my coven of my best women that in my life that I'm so proud, they will all tell you the same thing. Oh yeah, women are terrible to me.
Well, they're not all like that, but they
No,
definitely.
No, the mean
Of course
ones.
not.
Yeah.
They definitely.
What?
The mean ones, the mean girls.
They can hurt. Like they can hurt worse than.
You know what I find? I think a lot of women, and I don't. I mean, I haven't. I mean, I don't have an. Look, I don't have an issue with women that are strong, you know, just like on my level. I mean, I don't have, if women are on my level, I don't have problems with them. It's when these women feel that they are not on my level, which is self-imposed, because I'm not saying you're not my level. Right. This is their own stuff, their own insecurity, you know, and they feel threatened by me. And it's not anything I'm putting out there, you know. Those are the mean girls. And those are the ones that I have the issues with, you know. Like, I mean, you know, when people say, I don't know why you want to be my friend because, you know, I'm, you know, I don't have I don't have the big degrees that you do, and I don't have this high. I said, who gives a shit? A person is a person, and if they're a wonderful person and they treat me well, and there's reciprocity in the friendship, that's all I care about. You know, I don't pick my friends on, you know, that they make the same amount of money as I do, that they have the same level. As a matter of fact, most of my friends aren't. And, you know, I don't have a lot of, I have very few, believe it or not, very few friends in the entertainment industry because there's competitiveness. And I don't want, when I'm with my friends, I don't want to talk shop. And I certainly don't want to be competitive. I want to feel comfortable. And then there's
humor.
Yep. And then there's the opposite spectrum of the other people that look up to me like I'm better. That makes me very uncomfortable because I'm not better than anybody else. And, you know, and that's one thing I think, excuse me, that my parents always said to me, because I didn't grow up rich. I mean, regular middle class. My parents worked hard. You know, they're like, you're never better than anybody. And always be nice to like the janitor. You know, I mean, I don't remember what the thing was, but always be nice to the janitor because as you're going on your way up, they may still be the people that are on the way down. Mm-hmm. Well, and you're going to need them. And, you know, so I never grew up, you know, and the only time, and this maybe is a bad quality, and maybe it is. Pretty much it is. I think it is. The only time I actually throw my smartness, intelligence, all that shit in someone's face is when they're purposely going out of their way to put me down.
Well, you put them in your place.
Yeah.
And that's right.
And it makes me really sick that I'm doing it, but it's like I don't like somebody putting people down. Yeah. You know why? You know, I achieved this. I didn't get this shit for free. You know, like I'm like, you know, granted, okay, I'm in Mensa, okay, and you know, people go, oh, you think you're a big deal because you're in Mensa? I'm like, well, you know, you could take the test. I mean, seriously. I mean, you could take the test. It's really not. Yeah. It really isn't about book intelligence. It's about the way your brain works. I mean, I was always good on standardized tests. That's what this shit is. If you can figure that out, then you can be in Mensa too, and you could only have a high school degree. So it ain't no big fucking deal. But
what's Mensa?
It's like okay, you have to have a really high IQ. And there's only a certain percentage of people that have
that. It's a club for smart people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. I'm a crazy cat lady.
Well, I'm a crazy cat lady too, but that's what I'm saying, you know. Like when I was on like when I'm on Sheena's show or when I'm interviewed or I'm in business, I tend to use big words, not because I'm snooty, but that it's
they're
a word.
Appropriate. Yeah, they're appropriate.
And for years, you know, I read the people that I'm with. Mm-hmm. And if I know that they maybe, some of my friends will go, what the fuck is that word, snooty pants? You know, and they'll ask because they want to learn. And then there's some that give you shit because they think you're arrogant because you're using it. So now I try and really listen to the person and read them and see what their cadence is and what their vocabulary is. And I mirror it back because I never want me to let anyone feel like I'm better than them. Even though it's their shit, I just don't ever want, but that is an empath. That is someone who's kind and sensitive.
Water tries to match the water level. People are always surprised. My sister was surprised. We had to go to France last year, and I hadn't been back in almost 30 years. I mean, because I used to live there for 5 years. And I was trying so hard to speak my French. And the French people really appreciated that I tried. and it all started coming back to me. And then we went to Italy, and I was speaking Italian. I'm pretty good with it with languages, and people are surprised. Like if I'm at a party and I have a glass of wine or something, I'll start speaking another language. It's because linguistics comes easily to me.
Me too.
But I don't like to say, "Oh, I'm just great at this." No, I have fun playing with linguistics and languages because I love it. I enjoy it, but I don't brag about it. But put math in front of me, I can't add past 2 + 2.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm exactly like you. Like the arts. I used to love like vocabulary. I used to love all that.
vocabulary.
I
love
love that.
words.
I love. You know, I was always like, I want to be in the spelling bee. You know, I want to be in this.
Spelling bee champ.
So, but give me, you know, algebra. I could do. I don't know why I could do algebra and calculus, but basic math. Literally, I went into college and I thought I'm going to take accounting. That's pretty fucking easy. It's plus and minus, and I mean, you know. I sat there and they gave me the first freaking quiz, and then I had to balance like my first stupid Buddha. I was like, oh my God. Oh shit, I could withdraw from this class. And I did. I withdrew. And it's basic math. So, you know, and word problems. Oh no, I'm
I
bad.
mean, I can do it, but I'm slow.
Oh no, I don't like them. See, I just sit there, I sit there. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I don't have to.
Exactly.
You know. So, but I'm not a math person either. And you know what? I admire people that have that
Amazing quality.
amazing quality. Like my
but
mother.
a little boring.
No,
Come
no.
on.
My mother, God bless her. I used to have fun with her. This was a game, and this is up until, I mean, she died at 89, and probably till 87, 88. I mean, she always had her faculties, but she was really sharp still at 87, 88. The last year, not so much. But from my childhood, because she was an accountant bookkeeper, I would go, Mom,
Oh, wow.
what's 1.8765 million times 3.5876 million? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you're full of shit. And I'd get the calculator because they were calculators at the time. And I go, tick, 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 tick. And she was right.
Some people are
That's
just
a
so
gift.
fast.
So I admire anyone who is mathematically inclined. I call myself mathematically handicapped. I admire. It's a different part of the brain, you know? I'm all one side. But
Me too.
in any event, you know, I love having, we're going to wind down, and I just love sometimes having just us. You know, it's fun. I love having the guests, and I'm so appreciative because we learn stuff, and it's just, you know, bringing new energy in. But every once in a while, you know, I do just love to have us just sit around and chat.
We didn't talk about sex though.
Well, that's the next girl's show.
Gotta bring one thing up.
Narcissist.
Yeah, we're like you know, because then we blow our wad in one show. So
Heyo.
so
There
I'm
we
thinking,
go.
you know, we did the more introspective narcissist, you know, that kind of show, and maybe the next one it'll just be all fluff because I think I'm not having a guest on the next one.
Full tilt dildos.
Yeah, I was okay, ladies. You're gonna kill me, and so Tony. But I was going to be able to do the next show, listeners, on December 15th. But unfortunately, I cannot. So no, I know. So I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking. You know. I mean, is anyone around on the 23rd? Let me know.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm having
San
Christmas.
Diego.
That's my Christmas.
All right, calm down. I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm going to have.
Laura can't do it.
I can't
I
do
can't.
it.
I can't do it because we're having Christmas early because my sister and I are then on
I
Mediton.
understand.
We're going to Mexico City.
Oh, how fun.
That's nice.
Beautiful.
You know, I mean, and then there's the
29th.
29th. The 29th is between the things. So I'm going to have a feeling that we probably won't be able to fit in a show. I'm going to sidebar with Tony maybe and see if we can maybe pre-tape a show on another day and see if that can be done. And listeners, I just want you to know that this is what happens on our Between the Sheets Facebook Messenger page with all of us on it. So I just brought you into sort of the inner workings of the chaos. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to be honest, I don't know if we'll be on another time in December, but check the Facebook page, Between the Sheets Podcast, Facebook, my Instagram, QTE Brad, as well as the YouTube page, Between the Sheets with Gay and Bruno. That's all the update information. You know, I will say if we don't come back on, I want to say thank you for supporting us for this year. Have a safe and healthy holiday.
And you want to say, hey, I'll see you when I'm 60.
I'll see you when I'm 60. And those of you, and I know this sounds really weird, but if you all were invited, you would have gotten your Facebook Messenger invite. I need you to go in there. If you haven't gotten it, then reach out to me, but I know it was sent. And if you're not on my invite list, I'm really sorry. It's Cara's house can only hold a certain amount of people.
Yeah, like 300 or 400.
So, but I do want to say, I really appreciate you guys out there. I really appreciate you tuning in and spreading the word and being supportive. I've done this since 2009, in different, iterations, but I appreciate that you guys still come and watch the show and be part of us and have grown and sometimes regressed with us. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Please be safe and be well. And I will see you all in 2024. And we will go around and go ahead, Ronnie.
I'm Ronnie Lowe, life coach on all the social media. And I just want to wish everybody a happy, wonderful, warm holiday and into the new year.
And Sheena Meadow.
I'm at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. I'm a psychic medium and also a talk show host, a video and radio, and I've got all kinds of stuff going on. Visit me at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com and find me on social media. I'm just at Sheena Metal.
Don't you think if Sheena and I had an offshoot show together, it would work?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just saying. And then we have Mara Shane.
Yes. So I'm an artist. First and foremost, you can find me at Mara Shane. That's marashane.com. Or you can do Mara_Shane on Instagram. But I just want to say have a wonderful, safe, happy new year and count your blessings. And thank you for having me on the show, Gan. It's been wonderful.
You're welcome. Happy Hanukkah and happy Kwanzaa, too, because I don't want to I celebrate all. And Cara Noble.
Yes, I'm a voice artist, as it happens. That's actually what I do for a living, though it's not an enormous living, sadly. But I'm also a landlady. I've just finished my ADU. It's finished. which is
Excellent.
Oh, it's
amazing
done?
news. Yes, now we need to
Yeah,
rent
yeah,
it out. So you'll find me, Cara Noble Voice, on X.
On X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Oh, I'm like on X. What the hell is that? I'm on Threads too. I'm trying that. I don't understand that, but it is what it is. But again, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony, for a wonderful year and years that we've been here. I know it's been a while, and it's been a while, and it flies. I mean, this show for me is such a gift, and all of you are such a gift, and the co-hosts that aren't here, they're gifts too. And then Tony, like I said, thank you. So I hope I see you at my birthday party. You'll be the only.
You're invited.
As Terry Nunn would always say when I had the iteration of the podcast, and there was a guy that we were interviewing, she goes, "They're only dick in the room." So thank you for being the only dick in the room sometimes. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Have a great night. QTE Brat. QTE Brat is my Instagram. Follow me there. Have a good night. Be safe. Be well. Happy 2024. And namaste, everybody.
Yeah.